What's good? You rocking with your boy TheCzarr, all rights reserved. We back again. Hashtag CommenterNation. Hashtag Weekend Warriors. Because even on the weekend, we're still bringing the hits. Even if during the weekday, when I'm busy putting in work, I can only make maybe one or two. I make sure on the weekend that I give you the full brunt of content that you deserve on this channel. And yes, we're on to another subject. As I told you, I don't dwell on different subjects. I deliver them in a row, in consecutive manners. So what are we going to be talking about today? Well, there's two things off the rip I'm going to talk about, and the rest I got to research. I actually did make another video yesterday, but I held off because, not that it was incorrect, but because this connection is deep. I mean, it gets deeper. See, I told you when I deliver information, it goes in consecutive order. This got real deep, and it got deep to the point I had to cut everything off. And you'll see what that is soon. I mean, it literally is justifying and co-signing things I've said that I had to cut it off. I'm like, I can't be this right. So let's get into it. Now, we're back into the court case, getting away from the faces on the outside. And it's been brought to my attention. Shout to Miss Poison Ivy. Yes, Poison Ivy comes with another classic, as she always does. Micheal Boatwright. Did he receive the information requested by his lawyer within the state guidelines of a time period in which this information is to be received? You see, he requested the nature of the evidence, and he requested something that I could get. They couldn't give him the list of witnesses. Maybe they could not produce that, but his request to know the evidence being held against him, that was something that could be dictated to him in some documentation. They missed the period, allegedly, in which this information is to be produced. So there we go again, seeing the Florida investigators allegedly working out a timeline. Why are they missing the deadlines? You know, when you first come in and you're on a felonious murder investigation, you're expected to deliver. Hold on. I don't know if that's it. Oh, y'all want me to run? Nah, ain't none of that. What y'all thought I was going to run? I don't know what that is. Oh, somebody, Steven. Hold on. If that's somebody's car, you need to get your car fixed. Why does your car alarm sound like police? Yeah, I made that part of the show. That was on purpose. But ultimately, let's talk about it. So, Boatwright, why didn't he receive the information he requested? What's going on? What was the reason for it? What was the purpose of it? What's the issue? How come he did not receive the documentation he requested? Now, to my knowledge, there was no reason he should not have received that documentation. He did everything he was supposed to. He was making sense, making choices to go through the law system with a lawyer that did the right request. Why didn't he get a denial of the request in time? And what is that time period? It's been brought to my attention, allegedly, it was missed drastically when that type of information is requested. Now, we also see that they're having trouble coming up with the bill of information, and right before the bill of information is produced, they randomly said they found evidence. Why is this happening this way? Now, and they're requesting DNA through prosecution. Why wasn't it pulled up front? Because this is a murder investigation. It's not some simple issue. We're talking about the use of force against an unarmed individual. This is not a game. Why are they missing these deadlines? What's the issue? Why is Florida investigators not working by the book? Are they going by the book? This is the part, listen, I studied and I understand the way information is produced, the order of the trials and how they go. Why aren't they working by the book? Because to my knowledge, it should be open to the fact that he should have received that information in a timely manner. He didn't receive anything. Not only did he not receive anything, but now it's being brought to my attention that they didn't even grant his request. It was denied. What's going on? I mean, is this working to make him guilty? You see, that's my thing. If this is working to make him guilty, that would make a lot of sense in why things are happening this way. I mean, he reached out and he was very respectful in him reaching out and how he did it, but it seems like they're not respecting his time nor his request. Why? What has he done to be in a position to not have the same rights? It's innocent until proven guilty. He hasn't been proven guilty, so his innocence should allow him to receive the information that he finds vital to the situation. Why are we seeing that things are being done in the opposite fashion? Why can't he have things done the right way when he's facing a very serious charge? Allegedly, he's being faced, and all of this is going to come to light as the case goes on. But there's even more confusion I have to deliver today that I think needs to be spoken about, that kind of has me a little jilted, and it happened 2 days ago, 2 days prior to now. So that's something that I wanted to note as well. So here's my issue with a lot of this. We see that we have 4 suspects. We discuss very troubling manners all around the situation. And from what I understand, none of the witnesses that were first on the scene, let's say, were taken into custody, into an interrogation room, which is via the method. Listen, there was just a large mass shooting in Maryland. What did they do to everyone that was surrounding the issue? They brought school buses and they took everyone into the station. What was wrong with that in Florida? Especially when there was just one murder. This had multiple injuries and murders. This was one centralized, focused murder, and you guys couldn't gather all the witnesses. You just let them run home. Why? That's more suspicious. When I see how other investigators and investigative systems are handling their research on these type of crimes, it's more troubling that you didn't handle it that way. They brought everyone into there. One by one was questioning them, seeing what happened. They didn't do none of this. They pulled up, let everybody go, asked a few questions to everyone, and then kept it pushing and just hunted for 4 men. How'd you do that? Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. Now, this guy's requesting information on what's being pressed against him, and he doesn't receive it. Now, like I told you, I get you're like, nah, we're not showing you witnesses, because that's smart. But why can't you tell him what he's being charged with and what evidence is being used against him? Is this to stop his lawyer from preparing thoroughly, to figuring out a defense for his client? And if that was the case, why would you do that? Why would you not want him to defend himself? I don't understand. That doesn't make sense. Was gunpowder residue collected? Was there any type of gunpowder residue collected or anything that was measured to see exactly what happened? You don't have to show the video. I guess you have that choice, even though you want to show everything else on social media when you have it for sure, which is crazy to me. We heard nothing about an autopsy and toxicology. Is that why he wants a request of evidence? Because there's no true evidence being dropped? No inkling of what the evidence can be to even hold them to this case? Is that why Diedrich wants a private investigator, because of how things were handled? You see, they're following your system you created there, and you guys aren't following it. Is it because there was mistakes made, which we know? Believe it or not, TheCzarr has the ability to reach out to lawyers down there, connected and not connected, for the discussions. Is it because you guys you didn't follow it right? So you're like, well, we can't give them this, we can't do that. Let's do this on the backside and then bring it back in and make it up this way. You can't do that. Literally, people don't realize this case, the way it's being handled, is building the new platform that if you're innocent until proven guilty, we're going to find a way to make you guilty till you have the ability, before you even have the ability to prove your innocence. That's literally a fallacy against the Constitution. See, everybody's looking at this, and I will admit we're looking at the case in many different pieces, but what we're not looking at is how this affects overall Florida when they go forward to press cases. If they get these men in the way that they're doing it, literally in the future, the rest of you, even if you're innocent, will get gotten the same way. All I have to do is request your DNA late. Somehow I end up with evidence and your DNA ends up on it, and then you're screwed. Period. Now, this is not to say that is what's going on, but this is to say that's a possibility for it to happen. Your DNA to end up on evidence, and then you're like, I never seen that. But the fact you implicated yourself in this crime in some way, if you did, you'd have no defense against that. DNA evidence is conclusive. That's the problem. That's the issue with how the evidence is being produced. And that's what a lot of people don't see. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to express to people. It's a conclusive manner of research, but it's being allowed to be jaded and shaded around the scenes, bringing to some conclusion when you may not think that it's deemed even reasonable to do so, but it won't matter because you guys would have implicated yourself. That's what they want. And I need you to understand that even though he didn't get in the time period, if he somehow said he was there, or he somehow said he had knowledge of the issue, then he's going to be called guilty. But why not the same for witnesses that are bolstering knowing more than me about the situation? Why? That makes no sense to me. If you know more than me about the situation, why aren't you in an interrogation when we're being interrogated? Is this prejudice? Is this prejudice? And it doesn't have to be a racial thing. See, people are so dumb, they don't get prejudice happens in many issues. Because we have you guys in custody and we did it right, or we can make it right, we're going to hold you. But because we can't go back after these people for a reason, we're letting them go. Come on. Come on. That's not right. Especially when they can give you grave information to really figure out what's going on. Those are the things that need to be taken into account. Did Micheal Boatwright receive his request in a timely manner? Was he within the time period? All rights reserved.